Can't believe it. Meeting started.
Are we recording it?
We are.
The folks, talk with finance and economic development. We have the agenda in front of us. Is there any additions to the agenda? No. No. We need approval of the agenda, please. I rules, yeah. Secretary?
Richard will do that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any delegation or declaration of the pecuniary interest? Hearing none. We have the minutes of June 18th. Any errors or omissions or discussion on these minutes?
One discussion, if I could, Mr. Chairman. Maybe we'll put it on the floor first. Need a seconder for that, then I'll discuss.
I'll second it. Richard?
Okay, we did make a motion, and part of that motion was that we were to grant a shoreline stairs, providing that a building permit was to be obtained. The stairs were to be brought up to standard, and a hold harmless agreement was to be signed. Just curious whether any of that was done.
I don't even remember that motion. We're gonna have to go back and watch the video for that.
It's about halfway down the
Yes,
stage
you
there.
both having Richard Keenan, yeah. I do remember that.
I have not been advised to speak with the maintenance about whether or not any of that has occurred.
No,
Good,
Raymond
thanks.
is online. Raymond can maybe respond to that. You there, Ray?
As soon as I find the mute button, I forget where it is. Hello,
Hello.
hi there. This issue is a totally different issue. Or sorry, a totally different request.
On the minutes of
Lots of
last
these.
meeting.
We keep getting lots of these. Shoreline allowance, it's not an issue, it's a request.
No, they're talking about the request that went at the last meeting about the stairs that we were supposed to
Yeah.
get a hold harmless agreement. They were supposed to do a building.
Oh, no,
disaster.
nothing's been done on that yet. There's no update on that yet.
This is the one on Twin Harbor Road.
Yes. Yes, I understand.
So nothing's been done at this point then.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
So the stairs are already in place right now.
But you can't use them until they're brought up to standards. I'm sure he's not.
I'm sure Raymond's on top of this anyway.
Sure.
Sorry, I was confused with the request.
Hey?
I was confused with Mr. Mayor's request here. Sorry about that.
Yeah. All right, so we're done with that. Do we care? No, we do.
But it was put on the floor, it's okay.
Okay. By opposed to accept that? And carry. All right, we have a delegation tonight. For Robbins from Manitoulin Geopark. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I will share my screen here. I've got a PowerPoint, a short one. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and councillors, for providing us with this opportunity to speak to you for a few minutes about the Georgian Bay Geopark and provide you with a bit of an overview and an update, and I guess primarily to enable you to answer or ask some questions, which we'd be pleased to answer. So my name is Mike Robbins. I'm the chairman, I'm a volunteer position, chairman of the Georgian Bay Geopark. And I live in the town of the Blue Mountains, down in southern Georgian Bay. And I've been involved with the geopark for a couple of years now. And I'll let Jeff, my colleague Jeff, introduce himself.
Good evening. It's nice to be with all of you tonight. I also live in the town of the Blue Mountains. Love Georgian Bay. Love your part of the world up in Manitoulin. And it's just, I think to me, this potential is to see if Georgian Bay, the North Channel, is a possible candidate for a global geopark. And right now, we're just in the early stages of getting people aware of what geoparks are. There's more than 200 of them around the world. We have a book for you that we're going to hopefully drop off. We're coming up a little later on, but it's interesting how many geoparks there are around the world and how much people love them once they understand them. So I'm going to pass it back to Mike to give you a glimpse of what they are all about.
Yeah, and I'll just to begin, we're sorry that we're not able to be up there in person. We would prefer to be there in person, meeting with you and speaking to you, but given the short notice, that was not possible. But as Jeff says, we are planning um, uh, to get up into the into Manitoulin in the North Channel area in the not too distant future. So, if there is an opportunity to meet, we'd love that opportunity. So what is a UNESCO Global Geopark? Well, they're areas that are designated by UNESCO as being globally significant from a geological perspective. And Georgian Bay and the Georgian Bay Basin, the whole watershed basin encompassing the North Channel and the bay itself, are a remarkable geological story, starting with the 2.7 billion year old rock up in the north end of the North Channel down to the Ice Age remnants in the southern part of the bay where we are down here along the Niagara Escarpment. UNESCO has a number of different designations. You may be familiar with biosphere reserves. There are two biospheres within the geopark or within the Georgian Bay Basin. We have the Niagara Escarpment Biosphere, and we have the Georgian Bay Islands Biosphere. And there are global geoparks, which you're probably not that familiar with. Again, the focus is on the geology and how that geology has influenced the landscapes and human habitation. And of course, there are World Heritage Sites. And there are no World Heritage Sites in, I don't think there are any in this province, maybe the Rideau Canal. So there are three different designations. They are very complementary, and they're all intended to help protect special areas on the planet, and help to sponsor and educate more sustainable development and resilient communities. And we think that the Georgian Bay could qualify. We are nowhere near at this stage formally applying to UNESCO, but that is what our longer term vision is. And as Jeff said, there are more than 220 geoparks, designated geoparks around the world. Every year they add more to the system. There are 5 in Canada at this point. You may be familiar with Percé in Quebec, the Cliffs of Fundy in New Brunswick. There's another Discovery Geopark in Newfoundland and Labrador, and there's one in BC and another one in New Brunswick. But the opportunity really is to be part of a system of these globally significant geological areas and share between them, share lessons and learnings on how to ensure more sustainable development and better, more sustainable communities and resilient communities to climate change and so on. This is just a map illustrating the well over 200 geoparks around the globe. And there's a very stringent process that you have to go through with UNESCO to get to formal designation. And then there is like biospheres, there is a review period where every 4 years, in the case of geoparks, um, UNESCO requires a review for compliance, um, and to maintain the designation. And I think the two biospheres, they go through 10-year review periods. So at the end of the day, this if the communities around Georgian Bay and the First Nations feel that this is a worthwhile initiative, and we're not at that stage yet, but we're introducing the concept, it could result in a legally recognized management structure of some sort that covers the entire watershed basin of Georgian Bay and the North Channel with international accountability. And the whole point is to celebrate the unique and internationally significant geology and safeguard this area so that it's still here for future. The Georgian Bay is still here to be enjoyed uh, by those who live and recreate and cottage, etc., around the bay for future generations. The, the past number of years, we have been a volunteer group involved in moving this idea forward. We have done some community engagement and some engagement with First Nations around the Bay. As you can understand, it's a ambitious undertaking with a lot of communities and a lot of First Nations. And we are now at a point where we have the resources in hand, where we've hired an executive director, which is Jeff, and we've hired an Indigenous engagement director, Doran Ritchie, who was formerly with the Niagara Escarpment Biosphere. So we are now launching into a more comprehensive engagement and outreach around the bay with all the municipalities, all the First Nations, and so on. So we will be getting out and about and around the bay over these next couple of years, meeting with all the communities and explaining what the opportunities are with a geopark, and seeing if the concept of a UNESCO geopark has any interest to the communities around the bay. It has to be community driven at the end of the day. We are a group of concerned citizens who have volunteered our time up until this point in time, and we're people who either live around the bay or cottage around the bay, or enjoy the bay for recreational purposes. And we all love the bay, so we want to see the area protected for future generations, for our grandchildren and great grandchildren to enjoy. We are a nonprofit, a registered nonprofit, and totally non-regulatory and voluntary initiative. In fact, a geopark, the name, the title geopark throws some people off because of the word park in the name, and that's really a bit of a misnomer. It's not like a traditional park that we would all be familiar with, like a provincial park or a national park. It really is just a designation that helps us to celebrate and safeguard through education. It has no jurisdiction, no non-regulatory. We are really just a group trying to be the catalyst to stimulate collaboration and consideration of this concept. Again, so we want to be the catalyst. The geologists from the University of Toronto have been very involved up until this point in time and have created a number of educational modules that can be used by schools and others. And we have some tourism interpretive professionals who are involved in beginning to develop the stories and the storylines for operators that are interested in adding in an element about geology. in their programs and experiences. And we're all about creative storytelling, focusing on the geology primarily and the geological history of the bay, how it came about, how it formed, and how the landscape evolved as a result of that geology and human habitation. So it's a storytelling initiative. From the very beginning, we have the Indigenous outreach and engagement has been led by Indigenous team members, and the photograph here is of our former colleague Jack Conton, an elder from Henvey Inlet First Nation, who was our vice chair when we set up the nonprofit back in 2023. And he helped to develop our Indigenous engagement program and entrench in all of us the values and principles of two-eyed seeing and other Indigenous values and principles that are integral to our thinking with regards to the geopark. Sadly, Jack suddenly passed away unexpectedly in the fall of, I think it was 2022. But now we have Doran Ritchie from Saugeen, Ojibwe Nation, working as our Indigenous Outreach Director, leading that side of the outreach. And we're often asked, that does UNESCO designation result in increased tourism? And the answer is no. It really provides us, and I'm a tourism professional who has focused my career on more sustainable and responsible forms of tourism and properly managing tourism. A geopark would enable us to develop the tools and the education programs to ensure that tourism develops in a more responsible manner. And I just show you this slide with some funding through FedDev, the federal agency that covers the southern part of the bay. We hired a specialist who helped develop a geotourism toolkit, which I'd be happy to send to you if you are interested. And it really provides an assessment of some of the best practices that are in tourism management and responsible tourism development and marketing from around the globe and from other geoparks. So that's just an example of some of the work that we've been doing over the past 3 years. But as I say, we are now launching into with the benefit of a staff of Jeff as the executive director and Doran as the Indigenous Relations Director. We're launching into a more comprehensive outreach and engagement around the bay to determine levels of interest and to create more awareness of what a geopark is and can be and what the opportunities might be and the benefits for communities around the bay in having UNESCO designate this incredible area as a global geopark. So that's it for our presentation. Unless you want to add any thoughts that I missed, Jeff, we can entertain.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it really well. I mean, for me, it's really just a designation that can be a way of us safeguarding this incredible place. So it's, as Mike said, it's in some ways it's just I think it's a fairly gentle, exciting potential with again, no oversights, no restrictions, just some way to include ourselves in an incredible part of United Nations, which is UNESCO science, education, and culture. And like all the other geoparks, we've talked to quite a few of them and looked at them. They're just another way of being excited about the place we live and make sure it stays that way for the future.
And as Jeff indicated earlier, we will, when we come up there, drop off a copy of the UNESCO Geopark coffee table book, and that will really give you a good a better understanding of what geoparks are and what other areas around the globe have been designated as geoparks. So thank you. And we'd love to answer any of your questions and concerns.
Thanks, Mike. Are there any counselors here that have any questions of the two delegates?
I do, Mr. Chair, Dale.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dale.
Mr. Robbins, what date and what year did you first initiate this geopark, Georgian Bay?
Yeah, I think I got involved back in the fall of 2022. We established the Georgian Bay Geopark as a federally registered nonprofit in the winter, January, I think, of 2023. However, there were a few people like Professor Nick Isles, who is one of the foremost experts on the geology of Georgian Bay and has produced a number of coffee table books. He and another fellow by the name of Tony Piggott had been involved conceptualizing this geopark idea prior to that. But so it was really the winter of 2023 when we formally established the nonprofit and set up a board of directors, and that's when I joined, and my friend and colleague Jack Conton joined at that same point in time.
I guess my point is, 3 years later, we're just getting some information from you. Other municipalities are in the same boat. We have over a third of our population is Indigenous. We have 8 Indigenous areas. I'd like to know how many of those you have consulted on the Manitoulin and just off the shore of Manitoulin. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, as I said before, we were until fairly recently, we were entirely a group of volunteers, right? So we moved at a relatively slow pace, and no, we did not do comprehensive consultation around the bay. There are, I think, 32 municipalities and over 30 First Nations around the bay. And we had been we had a number of events to talk about the geopark in places like Killarney and Parry Sound and Midland and Clearview Township down here. We had planned an event on Manitoulin several years ago, and we had to cancel that because of the negative misinformation that had been circulated by one individual to municipalities and First Nations. So we never had that event, although we had booked the conference center in Little Current, and we had Indigenous guest speakers coming from the Great Bear Rainforest in BC. It was unfortunate, but no, and I apologize that it wasn't possible for a group of volunteers to get around to all the communities and First Nations around the bay, but we certainly did a fair bit of engagement and outreach to the extent we could. But again, now that we have Jeff on board and Doran on board as employees of the geopark, we're able to do more comprehensive outreach in a more significant and time efficient manner. So you'll be hearing from us more in the future.
And just one last point. We have an Indigenous circle spirit, and it's all of Manitoulin. And how do you envision your geopark impacting on that, or coexisting with something like that? Because this is well established on Manitoulin.
Yes, no, thank you. And I'm very familiar with the Great Spirit Circle Trail. Years ago, I am a tourism consultant. I'm mostly retired at this point and involved in volunteer efforts, although I'm involved in a big project still in Indonesia. But I did work for the Great Spirit Circle Trail for Wabatek Business Development Corporation, along with some Indigenous consulting colleagues. I don't know when it was earlier in the 2000s, but we prepared the second business plan for the Great Spirit Circle Trail, and at that point had been instructed to look at extending that marketing initiative to all of the First Nations around Georgian Bay. So I, along with Indigenous colleagues, visited all of the First Nations on Manitoulin and the North Channel, and in fact all of them around Georgian Bay at that point in time, and produced the business plan. They never expanded around the bay, but I'm very familiar with it, and certainly, one of as a tourism professional, my interest to be involved is first and foremost. I love the bay. I'd love to make sure it's still around in its present form for my grandchildren and future generations. But as a tourism professional, I see an opportunity to help the Indigenous tourism sector develop. And I think the geological stories that come out of a geopark, and I know for a fact, are going to be very much of interest to all tourism operators around the bay, to enable them to create new experiences and interpret the geology in their areas. And we've started with our geologists to prepare that material that they can then use to create new experiences and provide storytelling and interpretive experiences on the geology.
Yeah, I
So
guess
it's
my
very
question
complimentary.
was,
Just a minute, no, just a minute. There's other people that have questions, Dale.
go ahead.
Richard?
Yeah, I just have a hard job understanding the purpose and the reasoning behind your organization. Do you own any of this land that you're talking about making into a park?
Yeah, no, we do not. And it's not a traditional park. It's just a designation that enables us to help interpret the geology and celebrate and potentially protect this incredible natural area. It has it's not a park. It's not gated. There's not any controls on any kind of development or land use. Um, it's a designation that allows for telling the stories about the unique geology around Georgian Bay.
Okay. Rose, go ahead.
I just like to compliment what you're trying to do. I would like to say, under the umbrella, we have Nature Conservancy, Ontario Nature, and now we have you, which is a great idea. And New Brunswick has Stonehammer, which is the first geopark in Canada, well known. People go to it it's just beautiful. Then we have the Fundy Biosphere Region, same thing. Nova Scotia has 8 sites. So thank you for your talk tonight, and congratulations on working on it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We really-
One of my questions though is, you designate it and you're gonna turn it into a tourist attraction, but the Manitoulin Island is all private property. So is that going to attract people to walk on other people's property to visit this biopark?
Yeah, no, it's a very important and good question. We've got 2 UNESCO designated biospheres, Georgian Bay Islands, the archipelago, and we've got the Niagara Escarpment. And when they were designated, that UNESCO designation does not result in mass tourism or automatic tourism. What it does is provides, and I, as a tourism professional, my interest is to help better manage the tourism that we are experiencing around the bay, because there are some issues already. For example, in the Upper Bruce and in Tobermory, they're experiencing over tourism, right? And other areas are anxious to attract more tourism, communities up in the North Channel. So no, it's not going to automatically result in significant new tourism. It's going to provide us with a means to help educate and influence the existing tourism industry to be more sustainable and responsible, and to start to add in the geology stories into their interpretive experiences.
Thank you. I just got one quick question there. During your presentation, you were using words like legally recognized management, help protect. Now, in order to do that, it sort of tells me that there's some kind of structure there to control.
Mm. Yeah, no. So, and that's not what we're creating. We're just trying to be the catalyst. If the communities around Georgian Bay and the First Nations have enough interest and we proceed with designation, it's going to be the communities and the First Nations that decide on what that management structure is. Um, uh, it could be an extension of an existing organization, but there does need to be some kind of management structure to help implement and provide the resources that the geopark creates, right? The interpretive materials, and there's nobody, there's no organization. There's a lot of great work being done to protect Georgian Bay, the Georgian Bay Forever, the biospheres, the cottager associations, the NCC, conserving land and so on, but there's no entity that covers the entire watershed basin of Georgian Bay, including the North Channel and the rivers that flow in. So we see the geopark as something that could be created. We're not creating it. We're just the catalyst. We're not trying to be anything here, right? We're volunteers. We see an opportunity and a need, but it'll be the communities and First Nations that decide what the structure of the geopark is going to be, once and if they all agree to proceed with this concept of a geopark.
So there's a lot more groundwork that has to be done before we even
Yeah,
come up with a plan.
correct.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for your presentation. I guess we need a motion to accept this presentation. Rose and your secretary? Sure. Derek? Anybody opposed to it? And it's carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll reach out again in the not too distant future when we're up your way, and hopefully we can meet in person.
That'd be super.
And we'll bring a book, a copy of the UNESCO book with us so you can see what some of the other geoparks are doing around the globe.
That would be interesting to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
That's something. All right,
Yeah,
thank
I
you
think
very much,
it's-
gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the time and love your part of the world.
Yeah, you live in a beautiful part of the world, so we'll be up there soon. Thank you.
We don't tell everybody though.
No, you don't want everybody to go there. No, I agree. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Bye now.
But. All right, we'll move on now. The event coordinator second quarter report. Motion to put that on the table, please. Sure. Rose and Derek. Any discussions on it? Questions on it?
Mr. Chair, Dale,
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to mention that, you know, it's amazing what Allison has put together here, and it's yeah, I'm really impressed, and how much events, how much activity is going on in our municipality through this
Thank you,
events.
Jill. Yeah. Anybody else? I've got one quick question, from its inception, I guess a couple of years when Allison, came on to start this job, it's constantly growing, it's been steadily growing and growing. But I sort of wonder whether the, financial support is there, has that been growing along with it? I know that you get a grant, a small one. I just wonder if the grant is keeping up with, I can see this, this thing keep continuing to grow and grow and grow. So I just wonder if we should be maybe putting a little bit aside there at budget time. But that's something the staff would have to tell us. But I'd just like to put it out there that we should probably be looking at senior programs or money for to help the senior programs along, so.
Well, I can speak a little bit to it. Allison has been successful in securing about $50,000 for 2 years. Like each year, single grant, successful twice. I don't see any reason based off of her programming why she wouldn't be successful again a third time. For example, that doesn't actually answer your question in terms of
Well, I sort of, I wasn't
sustainability.
aware of how large the grant was,
It's about 50,000, but the truth is that in terms of sustainability, there's no guarantee you get that grant every year.
No.
In terms of putting some towards your budget, that's obviously a council decision to be made in the fall.
Yeah.
But as of now, we've been 100% dependent upon the senior active living funding that Allison's been getting.
When do they know if they got the grant or not?
Do you mind if I speak, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Hi, good evening, guys. So we apply for, we are a seniors active living center. So we are under that umbrella, and each year we can submit our budget. Last year we submitted close to 50,000, just over 50,000. I think 55 is the cap. And this year I submitted roughly 54 or almost fit, like a little bit more than last year. But we do apply in the winter. I believe it's February when I have to submit the budget. We're already approved as a seniors active living center, but I resubmit every February a budget. And then usually in June, late May, early June, we find out if that budget has been approved. So, but we are guaranteed, I believe we're guaranteed something every year. It's just not the amount guaranteed.
Okay.
So if you notice in the report last year, for the past couple years, we did a healthy aging and wellness expo during seniors month in June, where we invited, well, you were present, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
We invited many different organizations. Well, we did not do that this year because there was such a demand in keeping the exercise group going throughout the summer and throughout the winter months. So instead of spending the money on the fair, we were able to reallocate that through the budget and have the 2 extra exercise classes this year. So really, it's just playing with budgets and being able to. But I think 55 is the cap. 55,000 is the cap that we can receive, and we were really close to that this year.
Yes, Richard, go ahead.
As you know, I like to see numbers. It's nice to hear the numbers of the money coming in that's helping to support and bring this on stream and have a very active community. But is there any way of us getting a report on what the participation in these various endeavors are, Allison? Sure.
Can I, Mr. Chair? It's in the report.
Well, that's not knowledge sharing sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if you read other part, it tells you how many people registered for yoga and stuff.
Okay, I guess we lost Allison.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's got all the numbers there, guys.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. Sorry, Mr. Chair. I somehow got back on mute. Yes,
Alright.
all the numbers are in the report. I mean, yoga, it used to be 60 people, but chair yoga used to be 60, but it's dropped to 47 in the past quarter. I believe that's due to the summer coming. Or this is from April till June. This record or this report is from April to June, but all the numbers are in the report. There's also a breakdown of all the knowledge sharing on page 2. How many people attend? How many people were waitlisted? Like we were able to accommodate almost 130 people over these 3 months in programming at the knowledge sharing, and roughly 40 people were waitlisted. So there's interest. There's community interest.
That's what I needed to know. Thanks very much, Allison.
No problem, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Thank you, Alvin, for the work you're doing. Oh, Eric, what?
How many are from our community?
The majority.
Majority? I'm just looking at the pictures here that you have, and I see people that aren't from this community, so.
Yeah, it's not just, we don't, for the seniors programming, it's open to any, we have it open to anybody. But the majority are from our community.
Thanks, Allison.
No problem.
Anybody else got any questions? No? Anybody opposed to accepting Allison's report? Ms. Carroll. Now on to the book. All right, we have a report from the Economic Development Officer. Motion to put that on the table.
Yes, sure.
Derek,
I'll
second.
second it.
Rose, thank you. Questions?
Just one,
Yes,
Mr.
go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, I'm looking at, just catch it, local business startup, page 7, Sarah.
Yep.
E-bike, scooter, mobility device business. I know there's one in Little Current across from the TD Bank. I've done a little research, and I know I'm not sure all the regulations in Ontario. They certainly are governed by speed, I think 32 kilometers an hour. But I think we really have to start to look into, before we start this up in our own municipality, all the considerations, as you said, insurance considerations, licensing, regulatory considerations. I know the fact that helmets aren't being worn, there's no licenses. I'm not sure of the age. I think it's 16 years or older. So there's a lot of things to consider before we get into that, and obviously for liability purposes. Anyways, thanks, Sarah.
If I could just make a comment on that. So it was a gentleman within our community that was requesting information about thinking about opening that type of business. And he wanted information on his property and regulations when it came to structurally what he was able to build and what would classify as a business and how much square footage space that would require. So it was really me just providing information to him and logistics of setting up that type of business. So I made sure I did the research to figure out as much information as I could, and then also partnered with Raymond when it came to the questions he had about his property and setting up the business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Sarah.
Rose?
I agree with you, Dale. And there's right now there's a new law coming out on the East Coast where kids under I think it's the age of 12, I think, are not allowed to be on e-bike, not e-bikes, those little scooters.
Oh.
So all that's gonna come into play because people are using them like motorcycles.
I know, here in Ontario, I just saw a report of this, that unless they're illegal unless the municipalities have bylaws that allow them. So maybe that's something we need to be looking into is, bylaws if we do want to allow them on our streets and sidewalks and stuff like that. But I do know that there's laws on it now. Oh,
We're not part of this committee, but,
You
I
are.
just wanted to point out that on page 8, there's, an item about housing needs assessment. So when I saw this, and it ends up by saying further direction from office and admin committee is pending, so I tried to talk to Sarah, but she was holidaying today, so I talked to Denise, and she tells me that this is coming and we will be addressing it in the future. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
There it is, excellent. I don't know how many hours you spent on, it, but you did a very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
I do like the, the grant applications and that you do have out in place and they're still working on them. So, I know that was one of the things that was really needed in this position was somebody looking for those grants actively, so.
Well, likewise, I'm very impressed with the amount of work that's been done. Right out of the gate, this strategic plan was done and the research for grants. And now we have the Province Bay waterfront master plan, just getting going. I went through the rest of the stuff and I'm amazed at the grant opportunities out there that what we gotta, I know that staff has to hunt and find them.
Yeah.
So, all I have to say is, well done.
Thank you. I feel like forming the relationships with the provincial and federal funding agencies makes a big difference. So I did that before even tackling the waterfront master plan to figure out, language, wording, loopholes, like whatever it was that I had to actually put together for it to get approved. I wanted to know what that looked like. Because it actually started out as this signage initiative in the municipality where everything's not cohesive right now. And then I found out about the boardwalk and all these other things, and I was like, how can we amalgamate all of these things into one plan and tackle it all at once? So again, met with the federal and provincial funding agencies and started that way, and so far it's been quite successful.
Well, it's amazing report, amazing work's been done by you and staff. So congratulations on that, and just keep amazing us. Thank you very much.
I did have one recommendation that I needed.
Oh, that's right too. I'm glad you brought that up.
Page 9.
Yeah. Cool. Thank God somebody's on the board. We do have a recommendation that the Finance and Economic Development Committee recommends that staff proceed with a public call for commercial and industrial property owners and landlords to voluntarily submit available or vacant properties for inclusion in the municipal, commercial and industrial property registry. So.
I'll make that.
Rose?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I have a seconder for that? Richard? Discussion on it?
What's the purpose?
There was a business that reached out to me recently about not being very happy with their current leasing. I guess leasing.
I know what you mean, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if
Yes,
I'm allowed to say it, but he just with his current leasing situation and where he is now. And so if he's not able to find another property to be able to do his business out of within a year, then he's gonna close up his business. And it's a very well-recognized, well-known business in our municipality. I would hate to see him not in business here.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, any other discussions on that?
And one last question.
Yes.
Am I able to do this on a quarterly basis instead of doing
Yes.
it monthly?
Yes, quarterly.
Okay.
Is this paid back, this one here?
You asked for it, Brian.
Okay, I just wanted to know, I probably deserve it. I probably deserve it, I just wanted to know.
I think quarterly is probably better because lots of times you're midway when you're dealing with
Correct.
something that you can
Yes,
follow it through and then have a report.
yes.
Yeah,
I wanna have something new to say as opposed to repeating myself.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea.
Okay, is there anybody opposed to that recommendation to, council? And it is carried. Thank you very much. You made your point. What? Between us. All right. Next, seven there, we're done with that. The draft bylaw 2025-23, care and municipal land use. Comment period ended June the 30th, 2026. So it should be in your package.
You want a motion, Mr. Chair?
Is there any, well, yeah, I'll take a motion for that.
That we accept this bylaw? And,
So we're asking for what, a second or a third reading on it, eh?
yes. I think it's a good bylaw. I think it answers a lot of past, confusion and, controversy. So, yeah,
All right.
I like it.
So you're making the motion to give it its second and third, reading and be duly passed.
That's what I said.
Recommendation.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Dale.
I'll
Do I have
second
a-
that, Brian, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Rose, any discussion on that?
Once you're in public comment.
I would believe there is because it was read first time 20th day of May.
You know, I just know if we put out for public comment, was there any public comment?
Oh, you're asking if there's any input?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Sue is online, I'm not sure that she is.
Hi, good evening. I am here and I did not receive any comments regarding this bylaw.
That's your question answered for everybody. All right, anybody else? Anybody opposed to this? If not, it is carried. Okay, I guess, tailgating policy, I didn't see.
This is more of a verbal
Yeah.
update than an actual policy per se, I believe Lisa is gonna speak to it.
Okay,
Yeah, Rose had looked into it and she had formulated a motion that basically put it on the books that we will not be proceeding with a bylaw with respect to the tailgating. Did you all receive the copy of her email?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so if that's acceptable, the way she's worded it, you can make a motion on that email, the wording that she has sent.
okay,
I would make
have
that
a-
motion, Mr. Chair. Dale?
thank you. Yeah. Second,
second, Mr. Chair.
Richard? Anybody opposed to it? And that is carried. Okay, we have the Tracy Road subdivision, it's in progress. Nothing new on that.
No, there's nothing new on that.
All right, 2026 issued building permits report. Motion put that on the table.
Yes, so that's you.
Derek and Rose. Questions on it?
What are the yellow and red lines for?
Raymond,
What, the yellow one has been withdrawn from the permit that was submitted, but he withdrew it. And the red one is the deleted one that was,
I didn't get that first one. What was that one, Raymond?
we've withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Okay, thank you.
okay.
Just one comment, Mr. Chair, to Raymond.
Yep.
New housing starts, is that under residential, Raymond?
Yes, that is.
So we've had two, and then is seasonal, is that a possibility of a new build too?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Raymond.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman, we're holding pretty steady there, 7.5 in this year and 7.6 last year, so. Hopefully they'll all get added to our assessments and brings in more money for our community.
I just had one quick question. The permit value. Like it says for this year is what, 43,098. Last year. Which of those numbers, 99 or 55?
Comparable last year would be the time.
So it'd be 9, so we're down in permit value?
No, that's just until July, so it's a comparable as to
Oh,
where we were at last
You're
year.
right, you're right, you're right.
43 to 55
Yeah.
is really comparable.
You answered my question then. Anybody else got any questions on this?
Mr. Chair, just a comment, it's Dale.
Yeah.
I don't know if people read yesterday on the paper, but I think Ontario's putting in, I forget now how many millions, or I don't have the figure, but they've got a funding back to municipalities who get rid of their permit fees, and they pay the municipality back. I think it's to encourage more housing starts. Obviously, that's what the province is trying to do. Just wondered, Raymond, what your thoughts might be on that.
I have not actually seen that, Dale.
Mhm.
I'll have to do some more research on it.
Yeah, it was just a small blurb in the paper this week. Yeah.
Okay. Usually
Thanks.
I get updates, something like that.
Thanks, Raymond. Anybody else? Anybody opposed to accepting Raymond's report? That's carried. All right, next one is the shoreline allowance issue, Campbell Concession 6. Everyone should have the emails and the picture in their package. Motion, put that on the table, please.
Mr. Chair.
Need a seconder?
Will be it.
Your turn. All right, Raymond, can you speak on this? Love the
Yes,
drawing.
yeah, I know, right? So yeah, this is just a request to basically put a little deck, I guess, down on the shoreline. Put a dock in, and yeah, just pretty much similar to any other request that I imagine. We'll
We're losing you, Raymond.
oh, that's the proper set of plans.
We lost you, Raymond.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, what part did you not hear? You want me to start over?
Questions from councilors? So this is a request, but is it already in place?
No.
No, it's not, right?
Just one question, Mr. Chair. Raymond, the two trees, they're staying. They're not getting removed, are they?
No.
Thanks.
In the email string, it says if approved, it will be required to provide a professional plan. will they have to submit a plan that's a little bit better than,
Yeah, it's a little more intricate.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
so they'll, yeah. Sorry. We got that organized. So they'll have to get all harmless and all that else stuff, building permits and all that stuff, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that's in your department then. Okay, so we have a motion. Motion. Put that on the table, so.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Well,
Yeah,
Eric's
to
already
make-
made the motion.
I made a motion to approve.
Okay, so first motion was that put it on the table, so if anybody opposed that, nobody was so scared. So, because we did this wrong. So Derek is making a motion that we allow this to proceed.
Yeah.
With, as long as they get all the paperwork and they go on for all that. Okay,
Part of
yeah,
the process.
and Rose second that. Any other discussion on it? Anybody opposed to it? Then it's carried. Thanks, Raymond.
You're welcome.
All right, the next thing is the AMPS hearing officer contract. This is just like, I guess it's a renewal. He's already been on for what, a year or so? Lays out his duties and the cost of having him. And a contract, so. Need to put that on the table.
I will, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ruth. Seconder,
Go here.
Richard. Anybody, any questions on this?
How did we decide on who would get this contract?
Pardon?
How did we decide on who would get this contract?
I understand he's been under contract with us now for 2 years or a year. Sue, are you on?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, he was someone that we Jim Georgiev, he did do a delegation 2 or 3 years ago now when we were researching AMPS. He is currently I'd like to say a high-end hearing officer. He was an educator through the MLEOA. He has ample court experience, a history, very, I'd say a very fair, sternly fair person. And it was decided when we first approved this bylaw that because we are requiring to have a hearing officer, that there was really nobody local, I think, that would kind of fit that picture, I think, of what was required for a professional person to hear if somebody challenged the internal screening that they have. So yeah, it was decided that he would be a good fit. So he has since his contract has expired. So
Yeah.
Just to note, we haven't, and all the time we've been writing penalty notices. We have not had one request for a hearing. So we haven't needed him. So it doesn't cost us anything for him to standing by. If we do end up having to have a session, there would be a cost, of course.
Any other questions?
John.
Well, I think Sue answered the question, how many times have we made use of this gentleman? So, or had to make.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, but he's there.
He's there if we need him.
There we go. Okay.
Just one follow-up there, Mr. Chair. So Sue, does that mean he works not only for us, but for other municipalities doing the same thing? I mean, he can't
Yes.
survive making any money from us.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he's an educator also. But he does do this. He is a hearing officer for many municipalities. He is from Richmond Hill area. So any hearing would be done online with him, as he does for many municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody opposed to?
I'm always opposed.
All right, since we have one opposition, is carried into it. All right, next thing is the landfill tipping card report. This is, I guess, the result of us asking for more feedback. Issue we have, so motion to put this on the second.
Aye.
Rose, thank you. Tucker,
Oh, yeah.
Richard. All right, everybody's read through it?
I think it's a good solution, Mr. Chairman. They've looked at 2 or 3 or 4 different ones, and that seemed to be the one that was most appropriate, easiest to administer, and covers all the bases.
I think it's, yes, Rose.
Question. So if they only have to get one tag, if they only need one tag at the landfill site, delivered to them at the landfill site, or are we putting a restriction on how many they have to get?
No restriction. I mean, whether we take a car to go out there with 50 ticket cards or 2, like, I mean, we're going out there anyway. So it's not a big deal. We're just gonna put it in an envelope. So I'm just putting your envelope, same with Richard's envelope and with Dale's envelope, and they're all going out there. And they'll just be required to sign off on it when you get it.
So what are you gonna do if all of a sudden we have half the taxpayers decide to do it that way?
Then we
Bigger.
get more money because people are actually using the system. To be honest with you, I mean, but one trip out there, I can carry as many envelopes as you want me to carry, you know, it's really not that big of an issue. The truth is that now you can call in and we will make it available for you to pick up, be there waiting for you at the dump, because that's the only place you can use it. Can't use it at the mall, can't use it at the grocery store. So that's a single spot where you can use the product that you're purchasing, is sitting there waiting for you to show up. I would prefer if people came to the office, so we're not like trying to basically run a supply shop over there.
Great.
But realistically, that might end up being used more often than I anticipate, that service that we're providing. But the problem was never collecting the money. The problem was always getting the product in the hands of people who want to use it. Right, we could collect money any which way, they just never could get the cards in their hand. This gives them a way to get the card in their hands, so I mean, it's satisfying the public in terms of, here it is. You're using it at the landfill site, your tipping cards there at the landfill site, that's the only place you can use it, there it is.
So what happens if they only get one tag and they have 3 bags?
Then the other 2 go home, the same as would be if they decided not to buy the tags at the landfill site. There's gonna be quarrels that break out at those transfer station, because you know someone's gonna say, I purchased $50 worth of tipping fees and you're telling me my load's worth 80. I don't have a solution to that answer. I don't have an answer to that. Like, I mean, you didn't buy enough room on the card. I don't know how to tell people to buy more room on their card. I don't know how to do that. So there's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve, I guess, and
Go ahead, Jerry.
Our tipping fees posted on our website anyway, what the actual cash values are for a load of brush, for a coach, for a chair, for
well,
whatever.
it's 40.
Because our
it's
summer
40
people
tipping
coming here that are here on weekends, okay? They wanna get rid of something, they wanna be able to get rid of it when they're here, and they are taxpayers that aren't using our curbside pickup and everything else, so how are they gonna find out?
On the website, on our policy, that does say that, I believe it's so much per cubic yard. Forgive me, I don't know the rate off the top of my head, but what happens is in practice, the landfill attendant comes out, eyeballs your load and figures out how much cubic yards it is and how much it's worth.
Yeah.
So if you thought that your load is worth $60 and it turns out he looks at it and says, you have $80 worth there, you better have $80 on your card.
I do believe some costs are on that green thing that we get in our tax bill.
Yeah, I believe it was on the insert.
Yeah.
There was something on the insert, yes.
If they get their tax bill, then,
Yeah, I just don't think this is gonna fix the problem.
well, it is a solution to one part of it, and I guess we can what if this thing to death. But
So the main problem that I was given to understand was the fact that people couldn't access the office to get the
Yeah.
cards.
And that's
This
the
is the
thing I got.
workaround to make sure they have access to the cards. Whether or not they're dealing with the rates and that type, and whether they have knowledge of the rates and that kind of idea. That's not what this policy was meant to, this paper was meant to address.
So we have a recommend, any other questions?
I just have a comment, maybe we need to do weight. Of how much garbage you bring in, that's weight, charge weight wise.
You know how much it is to run those scales?
Scale, yeah, absolutely, way in, way out. A lot of municipalities are doing that.
Okay.
That's it.
We did those.
You know what, garbage is a real issue, isn't it? It bothers me to no end.
Just throw this, ditch.
Well, 'cause people don't care.
Whether we do it weight or size, the problem is still a matter of how do they pay for it, and how do they get their tender. So we'd still have to go through a similar process regarding whether it was, they were charging them per weight or per size, cubic yard.
I think it would cost us a lot more money to
Yep.
maintain that scale than weigh garbage. Cause the scale has to be certified
Every year.
every year.
But the way that it was done before, Mr. Chair, was they talked to the attendant, he says, it's this, this and this, and they paid them, and they got rid of their trash. Now, we've confused the whole thing that, well, I go there and I wanna get rid of something, and they say, it's gonna cost you that, here it is. But if you don't know what it is, how do you know what to get for a card? How do you know? That's where an app on our phone or whatever, and they can just go, yep, okay, here it is. Like,
I would like,
this is still confusing to our summer residents who are ratepayers.
That's not
Yeah.
possible at our landfill. We don't have hydro. We have no ability to put internet for Wi-Fi in, and our workers are not tech savvy. So you're basically asking something that cannot be accomplished at this point in time.
Can be accomplished with a QR code.
A lot of our seniors can't book their facilities on the computer, let alone use a QR.
Well, a lot of our summer residents aren't seniors.
okay, all right, we can talk about this until midnight and then we'll be home by then. We have a recommendation from staff here. That Finance and Economic Development Committee recommend to council that the tipping parts and garbage bag tags be made available at the Providence Bay Transfer Station in sealed envelopes with the cost prepaid by residents over the telephone or coming in here. Well, no, they don't have to come in here for that, so.
One
So,
question,
that is-
Mr. Chair.
Let's go.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Adam, when they call in to pay, obviously MasterCard, but do they take Interact and do they take online payment?
The online payment is tricky because right now we have it set up to take literally taxes or water and sewer. And when you go online, you have to select one of those two accounts. I am reluctant to set one up just specifically for dump tags. We do take MasterCard, we take Visa, we take Interact, we take Amex, over the phone. We take all those forms of payment over the phone. And by and large, I'm not, today, for example, if we took 50 payments of taxes today, I'm gonna say 35 of them were done by phone. So people are used to paying us by phone. Now, tomorrow morning, when I come in, I'm gonna get another 50 people who paid their taxes by online banking. But people are not unfamiliar with using the phone to pay for their taxes. So they can use their phone to pay for, we take fines or building permits over the phone, we process those, that's accounts payable, same as a tipping card would be. So there's really no difference.
I guess the only other question, Adam, is someone, a tourist that's heading home on Saturday and wants to do the garbage, they know the hours, but they haven't dealt into the website to know that you have to have phoned in ahead of time for a tag. They would get turned back, wouldn't they?
Yep. Presumably, tourists would be staying at a trailer park or another area with camping, and their landlord would be able to direct them, landlord, the wrong terminology, but whoever, the trailer park owner or whatever, would be able to direct them to do that.
Yeah, no, they have their own cottage and maybe they don't have internet and well, they know the hours, but they're not aware. I'm just wondering if somehow other than our website, social media or something, we can put that out and let people
It's on
know.
social media, it's put on social media, it's posted at the landfill sites, posted on our website. I'm not sure how else to notify people.
We
If it
did
was put in our taxes.
Let's take it home with them.
Yeah, no, I just don't know how else we.
We can hold their hands, let it go.
I don't know how.
You know what, let's just move on with this.
I think
I
we've
mean,
got a system, let's try it,
Yeah,
and let's be prepared to moderate it if and when somebody comes up with a better
all right,
idea.
so we have we have a motion here, to accept the report. That was, Rose and Richard. Is anybody opposed to it? If not, that's carried.
So that
Then,
does the report, yeah.
and then we have that recommendation,
Yes.
from the report. So I have a motion to, recommend to council that factor.
Yeah.
And a seconder?
Me,
Okay. Anybody opposed to it?
You know, how to-
All
Yeah.
right. It's
Dale,
carried.
Dale's
Oh, you're
opposed.
opposed to too? Okay, so that was Derek and Dale. It's carried. Okay. Better make sure. What? I don't wanna make a mistake, more than I do. All right, the next thing on the agenda is Manitoulin Planning Board, minutes of the regular meeting, June the 23rd, 2026. Motion to accept that report.
I won't.
Rose, Derek. Any discussion on it?
And Dale here, Split Crow was in the report. They would like to do it in phases. You can read it, what the motion was. They would like to know each phase, the planning board, before they approve phase 1, 2 to whatever, 4, 5.
So that would be a discussion between them and the planning board, correct?
And it'll become a discussion for us too. We have the last say.
Yeah, but only after the planning board kicks it back to us. It's not all right, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the planning board gets first kick at the cat and then comes back to us. Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
we didn't have any discussion earlier in the meeting. It's in progress, but it's worthy to know what the planning board is considering.
Okay, so you're asking for a report from the planning board on, I gather you're talking about the Tracy Road subdivision, correct?
Yeah, Split Crow. No, I'm
Yeah.
not asking for any report. I'm just making a comment that there is information for the subdivision in a phased in approach. And we'll be dealing with that after the planning board deals with it.
Is that correct, Richard?
Yeah. It's in the hands of the planning board at this
Yeah.
point.
All right. Noted. Anybody, Else, any comments on this, Anybody opposed to it? It's carried. Thank you. Arrears list,
Make a motion to approve.
Derek. Seconder. Rose. Any questions on it? Richard?
Comments, 12.1%, overdue there from what we have in the receivables, $1 million. And there's 126 that are in the third and fourth arrears list. So it's not great, but it has been higher.
Anybody else with comments on it? Anybody opposed to it? That's carried. Check register for month of June,
We accept the month, natural.
okay? Right here. Do I have a seconder for that?
I will.
Opposed, thank you.
Or if we can just, sure that we'll put the figure in here, 1,400,000. $547.36.
That's in June, huh?
It's the June one, yeah.
Yeah. You really outdid yourself.
Yep. You're looking for an explanation, I'm guessing? There's several really big items like vehicles we bought that month. We paid the Rainbow District School Board. We paid a bunch of things after that were big tickets. Let me just see here real quick.
80,000 to Manitoulin Sudbury District Services Board.
Yep, that's our monthly DSAT.
Well, that's a big one, there. GFL,
Where's GFL?
that's in the July,
Oh, sorry.
45,000.
We're looking at June or we're looking at July?
I was looking just through them all, since we're accepting them both, forget it, so.
Well, we only accept.
Ontario Clean Water Agency, 190.
Mike variance on excavating, so that was our gravel tender, 166,000. Ontario Clean Water, that's for that pipe, that floating pipe that we got sunk. That was 190,000. So I mean, if our normal check register is approximately $1 million, I could explain 400,000 pretty quickly. Doing this way, like the Rainbow District School was in there at some point for 100 and change anyway. You can find it.
Payroll is almost 104.
Yeah, we have 3 payrolls at this one in July, that's correct.
Doesn't take long.
No,
Wow.
no,
I better-
it's what I think that we bought the truck in
88 grand.
88 grand, yeah, so I mean. This was a perfect storm of a month, to be honest with you.
Renovations Incorporated, what is that? That's in.
Sorry?
Renovations, that's in July, back page. Or second. Says Renovations Inc., 175,000.
I believe that was for the roof, if I'm not mistaken. Do you have a check number for me, please, Ryan?
Yeah, 46729.
We're not. Next up, let's. You're in July and looking in June.
Renovation Inc.
Yeah,
Renovation Inc. Renovation did the roof over here and in Providence Bay, so I'm assuming that that's what that was for.
The
one
main
roof,
one,
100,
I haul.
Two roofs.
both roofs.
Seven to nine.
46729, yeah.
Metal roof replacements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, can I ask? Adam, do you roughly, it says here 3,300 for MasterCard. Is that roughly what we pay every month on expensive, what people using the credit cards?
It varies between 3 and 7, but that's going to be probably increasing in the not too distant future. Right now, I'm talking with the Bank of Montreal in terms of a cashback card that would give us 1% as soon as I'm able to determine what the fee is for the 1% card and what 1% is, because if it's 1% on restaurants and fuel, we don't need a 1% cashback card for a fee. So right now I'm trying to get some information exactly what that 1% is. If it's 1% on all purchases, then we would be starting to do more of our purchases through participating vendors who will accept MasterCard. And we'll be putting a lot more on the MasterCard and because right now, we're getting a $50,000 limit up from 10.
Mhm.
Just because we've had several, recent purchases, for example, in August, you'll see, one of us put up on our personal MasterCard, the sale of, purchase of 10 laptops or 7 laptops. That was just over $10,000. Well, it's just over our limit. We had the room, we put on a personal MasterCard. But theoretically, it should have been done through the municipality because we got a good deal at, I think it was, I can't remember the vendor, probably Dell. Same thing with the COTS, either a couple of months back or last month maybe. We put it through a personal MasterCard because we got all the COTS at Costco at a really good price.
Yeah.
Came out to be just more than $10,000, or even if it was $8,000, we had 3 on the card at the time, couldn't use it. So we were upping our limit to 50,000, not that I expect, in the 2 years plus I've been here, we've only ever hit our limit twice. 3 times, sorry, 3 times we've actually ever limited out the card, and they were big purchases all 3 times. But we're getting a $50,000 limit, and we'll be putting more through the credit card to pay our vendors. If the 1% option makes sense to us as a municipality.
Yeah, quick question for you.
Yeah.
When we fill up our fire trucks, that's done at the local,
Theoretically, right now, it should be done at the road shed.
yeah, now, but before,
It was done, a combination of Wilson's and Moose.
yeah. But that was done by a card, eh, like MasterCard or whatever like that?
No, it was done on credit. We paid
Credit?
we paid in accounts payable. They sent us an invoice for
Alright,
it.
so now they should be filling up at the
They should
yard.
be filling up over at the road shed.
Thank you. Any other questions on it?
Just an observation, Mr. Chairman, $2.2 million in those 2 months.
Bob,
Are you, Mr. Mayor, are you watering that money tree?
what's our budget for the year?
Yes.
And you spent 2 million and.
Well, to be fair, I mean, a lot of our capital work is done in the summertime. So we are getting metal roofs done and we are getting that kind of stuff done in the summertime. So
The
that's
expenses are budgeted.
the expenses for budgeted. There was nothing in here that was, an unknown per se.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Anybody opposed to accepting both those check registers? And that is carried.
The timing of the expenditures being the summertime really makes paints a bleak picture, but it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah. All right, next thing is the Finance and Economic Development Committee year-to-date financial. All right, I have that. On there? Eric? Seconder?
I'll second it, Mr.
Rose,
Chair.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions on it? Richard?
We're talking about that seniors active living, Mr. Chairman, that we had budgeted almost 50,000 as she indicated, but we only spent up to 8,000 at this particular point.
Seniors active living center spending. 49,000, so we budgeted 7,000. 800, right? Yeah, 15%. Is that up to date?
This was as of end of
July.
July. Yes.
Well, the report is they have a fair bit of
I'm
money.
not sure if Allison's online to be able to answer to it. The truth, he has, it's a different fiscal year, because we're going on, because of the way the grant system works. We're dealing with a federal calendar, so their year ends March, right, so this is 2026, 27 funding. I'm not sure the parameters on how much she has to have spent by December versus everything. I'm not sure whether or not it has to be evenly distributed throughout the year, or whether or not there's something that is being planned by Allison in here.
On the right side of the ledger anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions on it? Anyone opposed to accepting it? It's carried. All right, correspondence letter from the municipality of Wawa. Property Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. Ooh. Denise, are you on for that?
Do you remember the Municipal Finance Officers Association?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's right. I'm the other one.
I've never heard of them before. I just wondered what they do.
No, I'm not on that. That being said, this is basically, municipality of Wawa basically saying, we would like to have that bump up in OSIF funding, made permanent. And this is a resolution for it, and they're asking, for support from other municipalities for that.
Anybody interested in doing that?
Yeah. I,
Opposed?
Yep.
Anybody second that? There. So that will be that, that we support this resolution, and I'm not gonna go through it all. Oof, no way. Anybody opposed to it? So I guess staff would. Right.
I would basically be putting this as one of our resolutions, and I would be forwarding it to, I'm not going to forward to every municipality like they like, but I would do it to, the various government agencies that they've outlined in here.
Okay.
And with a copy to, the Wawa to know that we support them.
All right. Anybody opposed to that? And that's carried. Okay, we have a staff report and a letter from Tribunals Ontario, improvements to the assessment review board process. Denise, where are you?
I'm here.
Did you speak
Yeah.
on this, please?
Yeah, the land tribunals. Okay, to give a little bit of history, the municipality does do tax write-offs for various things. Most of them are approved internally, whether it's 357s for destruction of like the taking down of buildings, or change in tax codings and stuff like that. These are stuff that are normally approved internally. However, there is a addition to, and it came about in probably 2021. We just didn't act on it at that point in time. For the relief of taxes because of sickness and extreme poverty. The Assessment Review Board has now come out with paperwork that can be filled out so that we can process applications based on a fair and equitable process throughout Ontario. They have also allowed the municipality the ability to defer the applications to the Assessment Review Board, which I'm recommending. I don't think it's fair to have staff. I'm not going to say fair, that's a bad word for it. I don't think it's reasonable to expect staff to assess the income qualifications for tax relief. I think that should be done by a provincial body. And it also takes the onus then off staff to know all that personal information, private information about individuals in our community who are seeking this kind of relief. So I am recommending that we defer this process to the Assessment Review Board. And that's a short kind of question. The second question on this is that the municipalities normally pass bylaws with respect to delegation of authority. This is one of the items that we're asking to be delegated, this 357 for extreme poverty and sickness, to the Assessment Review Board. But there's a lot of other issues that council will delegate the authority for. We do it naturally. Because we don't necessarily bring to council every time someone asks for tax relief because of that they've taken down a building. That's just something we do internally. But the reality is that we really should have a standardized process for what can be delegated to staff and what cannot be delegated to staff. Most municipalities have a delegation of authority bylaw, which clearly outlines the level of authority that staff can have and then the level of authority that council wants to retain. So I would like to prepare a delegation of authority bylaw, which will include the delegation of the 357 for extreme poverty to the ARB, but just to kind of sort out what council is willing to delegate to staff and what items that they want to continue to make decisions on.
And to add to that, there are certain items that you have done specific delegations of authority for, i.e. Delegating me the right to invest or delegating me the right to use the line of credit if necessary. You've already delegated that as part of your household, your housekeeping items you do at the beginning of term, or beginning of the year, sorry. But standardized bylaw would include those type of items in there as line items of these are the items that we delegate to certain people's positions, etc.
The bylaw also outlines who is delegated that authority.
Right.
You can do a search online, or I can provide examples if you want of other municipalities. Most municipalities have a delegation of authority bylaw, so that these items are clearly delineated between what staff can and what staff cannot decide on. I can provide some examples to council if you want to see some.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's a good idea to have that distinction. But do any of those bylaws can council revoke if they didn't like a decision to staff or anything? Like, is there any alternative once we delegate those authorities?
Well, how would it work if I made an investment that council didn't like? What would your recourse be? I'm asking because I wouldn't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm asking. Like, how do
Because you've
bylaws
delegated
deal with
the
stuff
authority
like
to do
that?
it. I'm not sure what the outcome is if you didn't like what I did.
Yeah, then that's basically the question I'm asking. Once we delegate it, do we have any authority over it then?
How much money are we talking about here? Any idea, Adam?
That would
in terms of my
bylaw.
Well, right now I have nothing invested, but I mean, I have been delegated the authority to invest.
We do delegate lots of different things to staff. With a bylaw, it would really lay out what those are, but then what are the ramifications? Like, can you take it away or?
Council can always take it away. What you give, you can get back.
Yeah, I wonder how this bylaw would be worded. That's probably my question.
So this is basically
a bylaw for council. You can pick it apart at that point in time when it's prepared, but it's cleaner because then staff knows what authority that they have and what authority we don't have. And Almost every municipality, we have a delegation of authority bylaw. We already do. However, it's non-specific. It's a very vague bylaw that was written, I think, back in 2008. And it doesn't really outline what is specifically delegated. You can go online and look at the city of Sudbury. You can look at the, bigger centers. Every municipality has a delegation of authority bylaw. And the delegation of authority bylaw normally includes a spreadsheet which clearly delineates what authority is given to staff. And it goes from the small things to the big things, like what Adam said, with financial decisions to writing off taxes, 357s. Do you want every time we look at a tax and somebody's applied for a reduction of tax because they've, destroyed a building, demolished a building, does that need to go to council every time so that you can have the authority to tell staff to write down, or is that something that staff can just proceed on? Because that's how we do it now, right? They fill out a 357 form, we send it to MPAC sends it back to us, we write down the taxes. It doesn't go to council for approval, right? But staff really has no authority. There's no delegation of authority to do that process. So I would like to prepare a bylaw that shows clear cut what staff is delegated to do and who on staff is delegated to do it. Like to make a financial decision, to invest up to, $500,000, is delegated to the financial officer, because we have invested in the past. Back in probably 2020, we invested over $1 million. That never went to council. We pulled 500,000 out. No, it didn't go to council. Never brought it to council. We pulled out 500.
What do you mean
probably about 3 years ago. Sorry, Richard, go ahead.
What do you mean you invested it? You just took it out of the bank account and put it into a GIC, did you?
That would be the investment.
Yeah, so you're not removing the money from the treasury, you're just putting it in a different pocket.
Yes, that's right, but we didn't take it to council.
That's different than writing, that's different, Denise, than writing it off.
No, when I say write off, I mean taxes. Like if somebody demolishes their house because
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Demolished the house.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Well,
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to have this bylaw, and I'd very like to see one, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, so the first part of this, you're asking us for us to recommend this recommendation, go to council. Is that right, Denise?
Yeah, to approve the report and to recommend that we take the 357s for sickness and poverty to the assessment review board.
Yeah, all right, so we'll make a motion to approve, accept this report and recommend
Make that recommendation, I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, Secretary?
Oh,
Rose? Any other discussion on it? Anybody opposed to it? And that's carried. Now, the other part was for the bylaw.
Yeah, I'll make.
We just have to make a recommendation.
Just make a recommendation to staff that they come back with a delegation of authority.
Okay,
Needs to be done by motion, just
No.
recommendation.
are you all right with that, Denise?
Yeah, I'll prepare a bylaw for the next meeting.
Super. Then. There's nothing in camera. I just need one more motion. For adjournment. Eric. Seconder. Rose. And we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.